All right, what's up, you two? How's everyone doing this lovely day? This your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Try with me,
What up?
and today we're going to do the top 10 hip hop albums of 1991. You know what I'm saying? 1991 does not get talked about in hip hop.
Nope.
Niggas are always going to jump straight to 1993. More the first 2 years and shit. Like they ain't got no shit there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I was like, let's take it back to 91.
Facts.
Let's take it back to 91. You know what I'm saying? Um, Honestly, I could have went top 15, but I was like, let me do top 10. I might have a few honorable mentions here and there. But yeah, let's get this shit started.
Yeah.
Let's not waste any time. Number 10 is the Ghetto Boys. We Can't Be Stopped.
All right.
Love this album. Mind you, this is gonna be two rap a lot albums on this list and shit.
Okay.
This to me is their breakthrough album. Everyone knows my mind playing tricks on me. Classic song. I also love songs like Sophie,
Hmm.
Chucky. That was my fucking shit. You know what I'm saying? And yes, Bushwick Bill did get shot in the album cover. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? Like fucking classic album cover and shit like that. Yeah, man. Very, very, very dope album. A lot of people say this is their best album. Honestly, I could either go with this one, Till Death Do Us Part, or even The Resurrection. Hell, I'll even throw in Grip It on the other level as well too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, this album right here is fucking fire. That's that fucking hardcore gangster rap. I kind of felt Get Up was more hardcore than gangster rap in my personal opinion, but
Mm.
that's just me. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. All right. Number 10 for me is Black Sheep 91, Wolf and Sheep Clothing.
Ooh,
Um, this is my favorite Black Sheep album. Love the production. You know, you had everybody knows that song, Choice is Yours, their biggest hit. You had Flavor of the Month, and but in the meantime, and La Minaj with Q-Tip is on that. I believe they did a track with a Chi Ali's on here as well. Um, this was all Chris Lighty. Rest in peace. Is all a Violator project, and Drez is great lyrically, still great lyrically. Mr. Long, he ain't say too much on this album except for like maybe one or two tracks, and on the nonfiction on the second album, he rapped more on that album. But this has always been like my favorite album from them, and I think it's highly slept on. Even now, a lot of people don't mention it, and I just love it. I just think like they were perfect for the native tongue family at that time, and the beats and the songs, Strobe Light Honey and Similac Child, and just a really great well put together album to me. I didn't get the concept of them before, like the whole sheep and wolf and sheep's clothing and all that. I didn't really get the concept, but I think they definitely stood out, so to speak, from Tribe and De La and you know Queen Latifah and them in the native tongue, Jungle Brothers and them. So definitely one of my favorites from '91.
I agree. That was so close to making my list too, but
Mm.
I might have to re-listen to the album tonight.
Yeah,
I
yo,
haven't heard that
we
album.
should do a review. We should do a review for this. I think they deserve it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'm planning on doing a double review, but I've been trying to get my hands on Wolf and Sheep's clothing and shit
Right.
too. If I
See,
can't find it, oh, go ahead.
and not nonfiction is the one that I don't have. That one is like out of print.
Right. Well, actually, wait. You have, of course, you have Wolf, and I have nonfiction.
Yes.
So fuck it,
Right.
fuck it. Yeah, man. Because I was so close to getting that album, but they was trying to overcharge that bullshit too.
Right.
But surprisingly, nonfiction, I got that for mad cheap.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in stores since the '90s, yo. Like even in the 2000s, I didn't see it.
Oh wow. Yeah, man. I think they're trying to sell this one for like $75. Some shit. I was like, get the
What?
fuck out. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
All right. My number nine is Naughty by Nature with their. Well, I consider this their second album, but their first under the Naughty by Nature name, self-titled. This is a fucking dope album. This is the hip hop album I don't hear a lot of people talk about. I mean, they give Naughty credit and all
Mm-hmm.
that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like people don't even give them a lot of credit when it comes to like bridging the gap between the pop commercial sensibilities of hip hop while still having the hardcore sensibilities as well too. And a
Right.
lot of hip hop groups were trying to do that shit, but they always
Mm-hmm.
failed or they always wanted to go more pop
Mm-hmm.
and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But Naughty by Nature did it right in my opinion. I like OPP, classic song in my opinion. Everything's gonna be all right. I love that. Uptown Anthem, which I mean, if you were to get Naughty by Nature and you want to get that song, don't get the first pressing of that album
Mm-hmm.
because when they repressed it, that's when they added Uptown Anthem and shit too. So you know what I'm saying, or if you just
Right.
got the Juice soundtrack, you know what I'm saying, you can always get
Right.
that there. Um, what else? Fucking 1, 2, 3 with Lakeem Shabazz and Apache. Yeah, man. You know, Queen Latifah put them on and shit like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is this my favorite album from them? No, but at the same time, it should have been on that Rolling Stone list, but that's another story for a different day.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So that's not even nature.
All right. Number nine for me. Are we going from nine to one? 10 to 1 or
Yeah, 10 to 1.
all right. Number nine for me is another album that I think back in the day it got more love, and I don't really hear a lot of people talk about it now. Leaders of the New School, A Future Without a
Ooh.
Past, definitely my favorite. Again, I think when it comes to Black Sheep and leaders, the two native tongue affiliated groups, you love the second album more than the first, and I love the first one more than the second one.
At
And
times, classic, man.
I listened to that the second one, and it never really, the songs never really hit for me like the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like
Aw.
Charlie Brown, like shit, like Buster was a star in the making, but I thought Charlie Brown was also going to be a huge star. And a lot of the songs he did on here, like International Zone Coaster and Sob Story and what's the other joint he did? The solo joint. Um what's it? Was Pinocchio's Theory? Was it that one? Might
Yeah.
have been that joint. Yeah, that joint. Like I think Charlie Brown could have been a huge star from this group. Case of the PTA, classic joint. They talk about the whole relationship between parents and teacher, and everybody could
Just
relate to that.
another piece of that
Yeah,
OPT.
and Sob Story where they talked about like early mental health song that they talked about. You know what I'm saying? And Too Much on My Mind was another joint. They talked well, Sob Story was more like down and out, like you know what I mean? But Too Much on My Mind was like more like a mental health type of song, and I loved it, man. The production, the beats, the songs, the lyrics, the whole content of the album. I think this is like an album that was ahead of its time for '91. And Dinko D, he did his thing. Milo really shined on the second album. That was one thing I liked about the second album. It's, again, with the Black Sheep album, Mr. Long shined on the second one, and Milo shined on the second album for LONS compared to the first one. And I think it's a great album, highly slept on, and definitely one of my favorites growing up. Remember having this on cassette, and I played that cassette to death. So I'm like, this is one of those joints where like when I saw it in the 2000s on CD, I'm like, yo, I got to pick this up because I may never find it again. So I think it was Jared on Music World back when they were open. It might have been them or FYE that I saw it on CD, and I had to get it. So definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love that album too. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
Like that was a dope album and stuff. I like I love like the whole positivity and everything like that. But I always felt like the Time album that was like the true emergence of Busta Rhymes and shit.
Right.
And just so fucking style. But
So
that
you,
could
you
be
didn't
another.
you didn't feel like he was already here
He
with the
was.
first one.
I mean, he was, but he was, but you saw the real first glimpse of Busta on Scenario.
Right,
Then he took that over with the Time album and shit too. You know what I'm
right.
saying? That could be a double because you don't have a Time album, right?
No, I don't. I never bought that one.
Yeah.
Again, like the Black Sheep one, I always prefer the first one over the second one. That's crazy.
Right. But yeah, that could be another double review we
Yes,
can do.
true, true.
Cause I got tired. I just don't got the first one.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Number 8, going to take it to the West Coast. Compton's Most Wanted, straight checking them. Love this fucking album, in my opinion. This is the kind of album that you will listen to. You can feel like you're in like in the gutter. You can feel like you're in Compton and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Very, very, very dope album. This was the album where the chill was pretty much in jail, well in prison before the recording of this album took place, and he only appeared on Growing Up in the Hood. But here's the thing though, if you watch the video, MC8 pretty much took over his. Well, he didn't. He had a verse in place of him, and they added
Right.
like a piano beat and shit like that, which is pretty ill. Um, Straight checking him. I love that song. Compton's Lynching, dope usage of the Johnny Guitar Watson sample. Raising Compton. I even like the outro gangster shout out. You know what I'm saying, with that fucking smooth ass beat. You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Very, very dope album. In my opinion, a fucking classic album. Must have in your collection.
Definitely. Yeah, I need to. I slept on that album when it came out back in the day.
You said what?
I slept on that album. Like I didn't start messing with eight till when he had the beef with Quick. That might have been like maybe Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4, one of them joints, you know. Definitely. Number 8 for me is the Juice soundtrack.
Ooh.
One of my favorite hood films all time. Top 3 for me. Tupac as Bishop and Omar Epps as Q was just a phenomenal performance by those two, and they definitely held that movie together, and um the soundtrack was just phenomenal, and it was one of my favorites growing up, and having a mix of both East and West Coast artists on there. Two shorties on there: Cypress Hill, Salt and Pepper, Naughty by Nature, of course, like you mentioned with Uptown Anthem. That was like a huge hit when that came out, and um, Eric B. and Rakim with Know the Ledge, another huge hit. Tammy Lucas, who did her own rendition of "Is It Good to You," and I never understood that. Like she had her own rendition, and then Heavy D had his own, and it was they both were produced by Teddy Riley.
Yeah.
What was that about?
I honestly don't even know about that because honestly, I like that song. I just never really been a big fan of that song like that to look up the information. But
Right. Yeah,
part of
like
when
she
we talk
was.
about people, oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying. I remember when she was supposed to be like she was supposed to come out with an album, and she was like going to be a big artist, and then it's like she never dropped her album. She dropped this song, and then like the same year, like maybe a couple months later, Heavy D drops Peaceful Journey, and he has his own rendition, and she's singing on the chorus with him.
Yeah, like I
so,
said,
mm,
I don't even know.
so I just thought I always thought I was weird, and I never knew why she never dropped the album or anything. Or maybe she didn't and it was unreleased, but she's on this Aaron Hall with Don't Be Afraid, which caused some controversy years later. And I didn't know that. I think it was you that told me that about that whole song and the controversy behind it, and
For which song?
um Don't Be Afraid.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I didn't even know that back then. um Big Daddy Kane with Enough Respect. A lot of joints came from this album, and I love soundtracks like that where they put exclusive joints and they end up blowing up. And yeah, man, it was just a great soundtrack, and There's very few soundtracks we had that they had like both a mix of East and West on it. So this is definitely one of my favorites. And I love the album. The album cover, the movie poster had the original movie poster had him with the gun, and then they took it off later on. So if you ever come across this soundtrack and it don't have him holding the gun, then that's like the reissue, I believe, right?
Right.
Yeah. So this is the OG copy with him holding the gun, and I think the soundtrack is still available, but
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the OG copy with him holding the gun on it though.
Well,
But
no, the re-release version it don't have the gun if I'm not mistaken.
right, okay. But yeah, this is a great soundtrack. So Juice soundtrack.
Definitely. Um, hold that thought, cause my
Mhm.
laptop's about to die. I'm gonna go get my laptop charger right quick.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Ow, cramp. Okay. All right. We got number 7.
Yeah.
Want to stay on the West Coast. I recently just did a Wider Beef episode about this group, and I'm gonna go with Cypress Hill with their self-titled as well. Fucking fire album, in my opinion. A very dope debut album. You know, very, very, very different from what was used to the West Coast at that time too. You know what I'm saying? Definitely with the whole Latino rap flavor, and then them, really advocating for marijuana and shit like that too, and shit. You know what I'm saying? I definitely felt like it set them apart, and it's definitely not a gangster rap album because I know people would like to say, "Oh, Cypress is gangster rap." Nah,
No.
they had their own flow and like
Hmm.
that. You know what I'm saying? I love songs like Pigs. They were talking about police brutality and shit.
Right.
Ultraviolet Dreams. Of course, How I Can Just Kill a Man. I never get tired of that song. You
Crazy.
know, Break It Up. Stone is the Way of the Walk. Very, very,
Nice.
very dope album. Let me ask you, you know that they were beefing with Lighter Shade of Brown around this time too?
No, I didn't know about. The only beef I knew about with them was the beef with Ice Cube and West Side Connection. That was it. I didn't hear about them beefing with nobody else.
Yeah, they're beef with Lighter Shade of Brown because I think B Real
Wow.
said some shit, and I think Word Up Magazine or some shit.
Hmm.
But I was looking up for the Insane in the Brain video.
Wow. That's
Yeah, man.
crazy.
But yeah, this whole album, even the album cover with like them like looking like they're like in a fucking outside and shit like that. Because
Yeah.
like reminds me of that New Jack City scene where they're doing that living,
Hmm.
and they have the whole trash can with the
Right.
fire and shit like that.
Right.
Very dope shit. Mm.
Yes. Number 7 for me is MC Light. Act Like You Know. My favorite MC Light album. It's not considered her best compared to Eyes on This and Light as a Rock. Those were great. I like Ain't No Other from '93, but this album was like my first one that I bought from her, and there's a lot of songs on here. It was a lot of songs. It was about 19 tracks. But I felt like she held it down on her own. Like Eyes of the Soul and Poor Georgie, a great storytelling track about like a guy that she dated and he ended up having AIDS, and he was just out of control at that point, and um Lola from the Copa, Take It Off. You have a song. She also had another song that was controversy, like the Aaron Hall song, the Too Young for What, and she talking about like sleeping with her, like I think the boy was 16 or something, and um I loved it. I just felt like the production was dope, and the songs and the lyrics by her, and she even You know, she did like a little mainstream joint with When in Love, and I thought it was a good album. I definitely feel like it's underrated in her discography, and a lot of people don't mention it, and or maybe they forgot about it. But I think it was definitely a solid album for '91.
Yeah, man. Honestly, not my favorite album.
Hmm.
The album had to grow on me over the years,
Right.
but it's weird though. I love Poor Georgie. I
Hmm.
love Eyes on the Sparrow, but there was other shit I just couldn't even vibe with and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
now I have appreciation for the album now,
Hmm.
but because DJ Mark the 45 King did some beats on that, and that was like Queen Latifah's producer, so I
Right.
think that was it. You know what I'm saying? Because some of those beats had
Right.
like a Latifah esque kind of feel.
Right.
But yeah, man, I might do a re-review on that one day. I don't know,
Yeah, you should.
one day, because I gotta plan out what re-reviews I'm doing this year and shit too.
Right.
All right, now I'm gonna go with De La Soul is Dead. Hell, I'm kind of mad this is not in my top five on some
Right.
real shit, but this album right here, this is when they wanted to be more mature. Hold on, right quick.
Yes.
All right. So this is when they wanted to be more mature. They didn't want to be labeled as hippies, as you would call it, like hip hop hippies or whatever.
Right.
Um, yeah, song like oodles of O's, oodles and oodles of O's. You get it from my sister, you get it from my bro. Very very dope track right here.
Hmm.
You had Millie pulled a pistol on Santa. You had um, you had what was that one? Keeping the Faith.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this was a very dope album and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Very very very. I mean, it has its skits, but its skits done right,
Right.
in my opinion, and shit too. So, I love De La Soul is Dead.
No doubt. Um, Number six for me is Naughty by Nature, self-titled album. Uh, this was a solid album. This was huge when OPP came out, and that was already like a huge hit, one of the best songs of in hip hop all time, and having a ghetto bastard and you know wickedest man alive with Queen Latifah. That was one of my favorites. Yoke the Joker, Guard Your Grill, a phenomenal album, great production by KG, and they Naughty was just different. Like they were like, coming from Jersey, and Tretch is severely underrated lyricist, and having that cosign from Latifah and Flavor Unit, definitely great. It's not my favorite Naughty album. Like I still love 1993 and Poverty's Paradise. Those two first, but definitely a solid album from Naughty, and I think the first three on the major label was like their best. Their first three to me, and then they kind of tape off after Party's Paradise. But definitely a solid album though.
Yeah, I love that first album and shit.
Yeah.
I have to listen to 1993. I mean,
Mhm.
19, the one from 99 and shit. Nature's Fury.
Yeah, Nature's Fury I got to. That was good. I don't think it got promoted a lot though.
It did it,
I,
from
I
what I
bet I
heard.
believe they were on a different label at that time. They wasn't on. I don't think when they were on Tommy Boy at that time. I gotta check.
Really? Hold on.
I might be wrong. I forgot, but I know the album didn't get promoted a lot. They had Big Pun was on that. They had No Limit on that.
Yeah.
I think Crazy Bone was on a track.
But yeah, they want to. Oh, that figures it. Arrest the Clive Davis
Alistair, yeah,
ass.
yeah, they were on a different label. I mean, they had
Yeah.
Jamboree. Jamboree was a huge hit from that album.
Love that track.
Yeah.
All right. Number five, we're gonna go with Mr. Scarface's Back. A very dope album. One of the greatest debuts in hip hop history, in my opinion. Pretty much he was still in the Ghetto Boys while he did this shit. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't the first Ghetto Boys to have a solo album. That honor goes to Willie D with the controversy album and shit too. Um, Minute to Pray, Second to Die, I love that. Mr. Scarface is back. Good Girl Gone Bad. Money and the Power. Money and the Power. I mean, it's a very iconic hip hop album. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people like Biggie, Nas took notes from this shit right here, in my opinion. So yeah, I fuck with it.
Definitely. Number five for me is Ice Cube Death Certificate. My very first Ice Cube album I ever listened to, and I remember I know I told the story before. I went to this sports store back in the day called Mr. Sports, a sneaker store, and I went to buy my first pair of Timbs, and on the speakers in the store they were blasting "Horny Little Devil," and my mom turned to my mom heard the song and she turned to me and she said like, "Who was that rapping?" And I told her it was Ice Cube, and she was like, "Never bring this album home."
Oh wow.
And I never bought the album. I never bought Death Certificate, and I've seen it in stores since it came out back then. I never bought it. I do want it because it's a classic album to me, and the production, from Sir Jinx was phenomenal, and Cube, and like a lot of those songs was like they were actually playing. New York radio was actually playing joints from this album. True to the Game was on Hot 97. They played that song a lot. I saw the video a lot on like Video Music Box and Rap City. Steady Mobbing, one of my favorites. Loved that hard beat. That's a classic. And you know, like I said, like Corny Little Devil and No Vaseline, the N.W.A disc record. A Bird in Hand. The whole album was phenomenal. Even the interludes and stuff. I definitely enjoyed it, and I miss this Cube. I miss this Cube when he was like militant and really on his political shit. And yeah, man, this is definitely a classic, man. I want to get see, and it's like two different versions because you got like the OG version, you got the 25th anniversary edition, and then you got like the complete edition with like 24 songs. And I'm like, yo, I don't know. It's like why do they have three different versions for this album?
I never. Are you talking about the version that recently came out with the Uncle Sam and shit?
Yeah, but then it's like this on Wikipedia. It's like a complete version with like 24 tracks,
Let me see. Hold on.
or is that like just was that like a planned edition that never came out?
Give me 1 second. Cause you know how Wikipedia be and shit.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, cause the 24 track one, that was when they
mm,
re-released the album like a couple years ago with the Uncle Sam cover.
right.
The original version has 20 tracks.
And then like the 25th anniversary has 23 tracks.
Yeah,
Okay,
because the complete edition they added another song because in the 25th anniversary they added 3 songs. But see the
right.
thing, I wouldn't even get that honestly
Hmm.
because he recorded those like recent. It's not like unreleased tracks on the album. I think he
Oh,
recently
okay.
recorded them and threw them on
Oh,
there.
oh, wow. Well, why did he feel the need to record new songs for to? Was that like a label thing, or was that like something he wanted to do?
I think that was something he wanted to do.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like unreleased tracks from those sessions or whatever.
Nah, nah, nah. Those are just new tracks he recorded and shit.
Oh, okay. I hate when they do that.
Same.
you know, just leave the album the way it is. You know what I mean?
Right. Because I know in 2003
Mm,
he re-released the album, but he added like the How to Survive in South Central from Boys in the Hood soundtrack, which I don't mind that. You know what I'm saying? I don't
right.
mind that, but yeah, I would just stick with the OG copy
Yeah.
or the 2003 edition.
Right.
But yeah, man. And I'm definitely want to talk about Death Certificate too.
Yep.
So we got number four.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Public Enemy's Apocalypse 91. Very dope album. Um, this album to me was like sonically, it was very different from the first three because even though it did say it was executive produced by the Bomb Squad,
Right.
they didn't actually produce this because from what I've read, the original tapes for this album got stolen or some shit too.
Wow.
And so they were kind of like in a rush. So that's when they had their understudies, the Imperial Grand Ministers of Funk.
Mm-hmm.
That's why like this album has like a more stripped down appeal compared to like Fear of a Black Planet or even It Takes a Nation of Millions and shit. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
Um, very, very, very dope track and a very dope album, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy too because the stolen tracks, according to Hank Shockley, they were producing those tracks for like 4 to 5 years and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Wow. I didn't even know
yeah,
that.
yeah, man. That's why like they kind of like after this one, they kind of took a little hiatus or whatnot, which I didn't even know about this shit.
Right.
Even when I did the review on this album years ago. So yeah,
That's crazy.
um, yeah. So album has classic track. Actually has my favorite Public Enemy track.
Mm.
By the time I get to Arizona,
Yes.
where they wrote that after that motherfucker tried to ban Martin Luther King Day in Arizona. What was his name? What was his fucking name? Evan McCam. Yeah, that's his
Oh,
name. I don't want to be called your nigga. Fucking a million bottle bags. Shut him
right.
down.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The remix with Bring the Noise with Anthrax, which
Oof.
honest, I like the version with Anthrax, but I like the original version a bit more,
Right.
honestly. This might be Flavor Flav's best album on Public Enemy, in my opinion, because he had like about four solo tracks, like Letter to the New York Post. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Like
Facts.
this was the most serious Flav was on. This one and music was the most serious he was ever on and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
definitely fuck with this record hard.
Okay. Number four for me is De La Soul. De La Soul is dead.
Ooh,
Um, I love this album. I still didn't know what the hell they was talking about at this point. I think they were a lot of stuff they said what like went over my head, but the production made up for that. Like Ring Ring and Roller Skating Gym and Saturday. That one everybody knew that one.
yes.
That was just like a feel good song for the weekend, a weekend jam. Udos of O's my favorite. Um, it was just a great. I think True Goy went off on that joint.
Yes.
Even the skits were hilarious and Biddy's Peace Please Porridge was dope and I just loved it. I just grew up with this album again. This was like one of those albums where I played a lot in the summer. I had neighbors that played it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just a feel good album and just a classic, another classic after their first album. And definitely, I didn't understand why they called it De La Soul is Dead, but um, I definitely one of my favorite albums from them. So,
Yeah, man. They pretty much called it De La Soul is
mm,
dead because people always associated De La Soul as hip hop hippies, and
right.
so the Daisy represented De La Soul. That's why they had that
Oh,
shit
okay.
there.
The Daisy Age.
Yep.
I feel you.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Number three, N.W.A. Niggas for Life, the
Oh,
first gangster rap album to go number one on the pop charts. Not a lot of people know that.
mm-hmm.
Um, Better than Straight Outta Compton. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
I love Straight Outta Compton. I love the Straight Outta Compton.
Uh huh.
It's an important album, not just in hip hop, but in music.
Yeah.
But these niggas, when they did this one right here, it was over. Like I love Ice Cube, but the
Mhm.
DOC was Dr. Dre's best writer. I don't give a
Right.
fuck what nobody says. MC Ren definitely was like the MVP of this whole album. Him and Dr. Dre, because
Right.
Dre was just mad on this whole fucking album.
Mhm.
Like, this was around the time when his brother had died. You know, he was beating on Michelet and shit like that. You know, he was drinking a bit more. And then
Right.
of course, you know, Jerry Heller, you know, was being shady and shit like that, you know what I'm saying, with the money and
Right.
shit, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, they were just going through a lot. A lot of people kind of got mad about the money and the misogyny that was on this album and shit too. But if y'all can listen to Future and call NBA YoungBoy or Jesus Christ, and y'all can listen to this album, that's all I gotta say.
Right.
Um, I don't even know where to begin with these songs and shit. Like Real Niggas Die, love that track. Niggas for Life, Always Into Something, Find 'Em Fuck 'Em Flee, The Days Are Way Back.
Yeah.
One Less Bitch. Whoo!
Mm.
Being,
Classic.
even if you are a Dre fan, you don't like the misogyny, listen to this album for the production, because the shit that Dre, the shit that Dre was doing on the Chronic,
Mhm.
he started it off here and shit like
Right.
that too. Him and Yella. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
of course, he had help from Cole 187 too. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So yeah, Above the Law, dope hip hop group as well too. Got to talk about Black Mafia like one day.
Oh yeah. For sure.
But yeah, man, this whole album is fucking fire.
Definitely. Um, Number three for me is Public Enemy, Apocalypse 91. Great album, one of my favorites. Great production. Um, the songs was just like really anthems on this album. How I by the time I get to Arizona and Shut Them Down and Can't Trust It, the Bring the Noise remix with Anthrax. I used to see that video all the time on MTV, and I didn't even know who the hell Anthrax was at that point, but that video got me familiar with them, and um that was like a great rock rap collab, and more news at 11, Flavor Flav and Flavor Flav joint on there. That was fire. Night Train, and I love the Night Train remix by Pete Rock, and I think like
Ooh,
a lot of the dope songs on here was like they remixed it for the Greatest Misses remix album, and
yeah.
definitely a great album, and Terminator X, did his thing as always. He ain't speak, but you could hear him on the song Scratch, and he did his thing. And Chuck D was just phenomenal on this album, and this is great. I don't know, like it to me it's like people just pick. It takes a nation of millions, and like that's the only. It's like that's the only classic to people, and I just feel like they have more than one.
Mm, they pick Fear and this album. Some people do.
Really? Comment
Yeah.
when it comes to like the hip hop list and all that, I always see it takes a nation of men. I don't see this album on no list. You know.
I mean, you gotta understand, Rolling Stone, Complex,
Mhm.
they're not really gonna recognize that. They even recognize Fear of a Black Planet and
Right.
shit like that too. But if you want like a independent hip hop blog or diehard hip hop blogs and shit, they
Mhm.
definitely highlight that album and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I
Yeah.
do hear what you're saying about that album needs some more love. I do hear what you're
Yes.
saying.
Definitely. I think they were great in the 80s and 90s, and I'm like they have more than one classic. You know what I'm saying? How come I just keep seeing it takes a nation and then takes a nation of millions? That wasn't even. I got that like way later. You know what I'm saying? Like I was more into Fear Black Planet and this album and Music and Our Message. And later on I got It Takes a Nation, but I've always like when it comes to these like countdowns and lists, they always pick that album over everything else on them. I just never understood that.
Because you know what
So
it is, bro.
yeah,
That album and BDP's by any means necessary like the first conscious hip hop album when it comes to the
mhm,
whole new age hip hop and shit too. So
right,
Some of those
Yes, sir.
motherfuckers, they don't even listen to the album, but they will still put it on there and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Facts. But this is definitely a classic album. It's great. I even like the album cover with like Flavor Flav and like the Nike Red Jordan windbreaker suit back
That's
in
a
the
dope
day.
fit though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I wish they would bring that shit back, yo. That's something they need to bring back. Bring back
Right.
the windbreaker outfits, you know.
Yes.
But definitely a classic album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, boy.
Yeah.
Mm. Number two, I mean, I gotta go with I have a feeling we will. Mm. Wait, hold on, wait a minute, wait a minute. You know what? Yeah, fuck this. I'm gonna. Yeah, number two is death certificate. Cause I have a feeling we're
Okay.
gonna have the same number one.
Probably.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling this shit. Cause I made a slight mistake. That's why I looked at him. I was like, hell no, I meant to switch this up, but I was at work when I
Right.
did this.
Okay.
But yeah, Ice Cube's death certificate. Now, honestly, the top three could either be my number ones and shit, or some
Hmm.
real stuff. But death
Right.
certificate to me was the most impactful hip hop album of that year. Hip hop album that got him noticed by the JDL,
Hmm.
dismantled your whole fucking group. At the time, you still starring in Boys in the Hood and shit.
Right.
Predated the whole LA riots. I mean, this whole album, when I talk about controversy, this whole album was like the definition of controversy, and I loved it. It
Yeah.
was dark, it was crazy, it was sadistic. This was this is if you want to like really picture how a black man felt around this time, listen to this whole fucking album.
Right.
I love how he split the whole album up with the death side. Where he has like the more gangster songs like Steady Mobbing, Giving Up the Nappy Dugout, I'm gonna do something to your daughter.
Yeah.
My favorite track, A Bird in the Hand. I love that BB King sample and shit like
Love
that.
that.
But then when you get to the life side, you still have your gangster shit, but then he has like a more conscious, which that's one thing I've always loved about Ice Cube and shit. You know what I'm saying? He was a gangster rapper, but he had messages like gangster rap back in the day, like Ice Cube, Ice T,
Hmm.
like they may be gangster, but they get political and conscious and shit. You know, he has songs like "I Want to Kill Sam," "Black Korea," which that shit predated the whole LA riots and shit. Cause you know, a lot of these Asian motherfuckers when they come, you know, they come to America expecting to be billionaires, expecting to be like all successful, but then they always end up having convenience stores and stuff like that, you know. Um, Colorblind,
Hmm.
Cam, Mad Circle, King T, JD, Deadly Threat, and of course, the greatest diss track of all time, No Vaseline.
Yes.
Yes. So this whole album to me is just one of the greatest albums of all time. And just get the OG version, get the version with Uncle Sam dead. Don't get the one where Uncle Sam was all black and shit. I don't know why they did that shit.
Right.
But I feel like, oh, whoa, we can't show Uncle Sam. Because mind you, this came out, the re release came out during the Trump era. So,
Right. Of course. Of
yeah.
course. Oh boy. All
All
right.
right.
Number two for me is Cypress Hill, the self title from '91 with How I Could Just Kill a Man and Hand on the Pump. Big hits over here when that came out, and Muggs production was great, and they were like a West Coast group with boom bap production, and B Real's nasal flow was just something that we didn't hear in hip hop, and Send Dog baritone on a lot of the choruses, and it was phenomenal. Stone is the way to walk, and the Pigs joint real estate with Everlast. Latin lingo, one of my favorites when they Send Dog is like rapping in Spanish, and we had a dope beat with that and percussions and all that on that song, and just a great album, man. Like their first three to me is like their best work in their discography, and you know we definitely showed them love. Like we definitely showed them love over here when they came out, and Black Sunday was great, Temples of Boom was great. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Definitely my one of my favorite groups all time. Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famers in my opinion. They need to be in the Hall of Fame already. And yeah, man, like this that's definitely a five mic album.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. My number one is Tribe Called Quest, Low End Theory. That's your number one
Yes.
too? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, no argument here. Shame on Rolling Stone again for
Yep.
disrespecting Tribe.
Right? How dare them?
For what?
How dare they do that? Like, try this
They
is like when I think of 91, I think of Tribe. Like the low end theory, definitely check the rhyme and scenario. Like, come on. Everybody knows those songs. Even if you're not like if you like a casual rap fan or you're not a rap fan, you still know those songs. And those are great, man. And the production, Q-Tip and was in his bag lyrically. Fife was in his bag lyrically. And I think like from the first album, like Fife wasn't on a lot of songs, but he definitely made up for it on this album and on Midnight Marauders and even on Beach Arms and Life. He definitely became one of the best lyricists, on the mic and rest in peace to him and this was a great album, man. Show business with
yes.
Brand Nubian and Diamond D, and they took off Grand Poobah from the original version and crazy joint. Man. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
oh man, huh? What you was gonna say?
I know I was agreeing with you on everything.
And scenario, there's a different scenario version without. I think the Black Sheep was on the original one and De La Soul in them.
What?
You never heard about that?
No.
So, oh my God, really? You never heard about
Never.
the other version? There's another
No.
version of yes, there's another version of scenario with De La Soul and Black Sheep.
Get the out of
Yes,
here.
yes. There's
Yo,
another
send that
version.
shit to me.
Okay, cause I heard Drez talk about it, and I heard Della talk about it, and Della they did an interview. Um, they did an interview. Not Della. Beatnuts did an interview years ago. I forgot what it was. It was it was on a SoundCloud podcast, and they said like when they got in when they were affiliated with the Native Tongue crew, they did stuff with like De La that nobody ever heard. Like they got like a whole album with De La Soul that nobody ever heard. They have joints
Wow.
with many different affiliates, but this the I think the original scenario it was Paz the Noose and Drez. I want to say True Goy was on that, but yeah, there's another version, the OG version with Black Sheep and De La, and they never because it was too long. They never released it. I thought everybody knew about that though.
I never knew that.
Yes, yes. There's another. Yeah, that version. I know it's on YouTube. I know it's on YouTube. So if you haven't checked
Hey,
that
yo,
out, definitely look that up.
if you find
But
that, let me
mhm.
know.
but they need to release that. But I love the version that came out with LONS and Tribe, and they did their thing in that video. And Spike Lee directed that video. It was so great. And it had like Redman was in that joint, and I think Kid Capri was in a lot of cameos was in that.
Yep.
It was just just great times for hip hop at that time. I was in junior high when this came out, and this was like the soundtrack for us at that time. It was De La, it was Tribe, it was LONS. Latifah was doing her thing. Naughty, Heavy D that was great times for hip hop, man. Cypress Hill, you know, is what I'm saying. So just a great album, Butter, Fife did his thing on that joint, and bugging out and jazz. Jazz is one of my favorites because it had like that winter feel to it. I love the black and white video for that and classic album, man. Like I never get tired of playing this album, and it's definitely have to be number one for me. Any one of these well, not anyone, like the last four could have been like Cypress Hill could have been number one. Public Enemy, Ice Cube, anyone who could be number one for me. So
I agree.
you know,
All right. I have about three honorable mentions that I want to get out the
yes,
way.
yes,
Ice T's Original Gangster.
classic.
Very dope album. His best album, in my opinion.
Hmm.
The probably the one of the first visual albums because he did a video for every song on this album. Yes,
Hmm.
way before Beyonce with Lemonade and shit like that. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So people acting like she did the first visual album. Look at Ice T's Original Gangster. That's all I gotta say. No, nothing against
right,
Beyonce and shit, but
right.
um, songs like New Jack Hustler,
Yes.
which New Jack City Review. Shout out to Mike. Got can't wait
Hmm.
for that.
Hmm.
That's gonna be this Sunday. Um, Mind Over Matter, Bitches 2, Flyby. I mean, this whole fucking album is just. It definitely had a very strong East Coast sound too, because he was working a lot with DJ Aladdin, so
Right.
very dope. Dub C and the Mad Circle, Ain't a Damn Thing Changed. Probably the most underrated West Coast album of '91, if you ask me. I never seen Dub C and the Mad Circle get It's Just You. Because whenever people think Dub C, it's always no West Side Connection.
Right.
It's always Curb Serve. No. Yeah, the 98 solo album.
Hmm.
Um, you know which one the first is
Yeah.
the shadiest one. The shadiest one.
The Shady's one, right?
Yeah, which was a dope one album and shit like that. But the only two Dub C the Mastical albums, this one and Curb Serving, West Coast classics in my opinion. I love songs like Out on the Furlough, Dope Slide in the Family Stone sample, You Don't Work, You Don't Eat, which had JDMCA and Ice Cube, Ghetto Serenade. Oh my god! Like
Hmm.
this whole album has some of Sir Jinx and the late great DJ Crazy Tunes' best work in my opinion.
Right.
And one more album from '91 I do want to give it just you two. You know what I'm saying? It's this hip hop group called the Convicts with their self-titled album. Still got to take it up to rap a lot with this
Right.
one and shit like that. With this one, this was Big Mike and Lord 3-2. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Very, very, very dope. They finally put this album on Spotify. Finally, but the album is fucking expensive as hell and shit too. So that's the bullshit. I love songs like Penitentiary Blues, Fuck School, I Ain't Going Back. I love Boning. I mean,
Yeah.
just the title of these tracks alone, you guys should know what you're about to get into.
Right.
Those are my honorable mentions right there.
I got there's so many honorable mentions. We should have did a part two to this shit, but
Right.
um, Queen Latifah, Nature of a Sister, love this
Ooh,
album. One of my
yes.
favorites. I think it's highly slept on. Fly Girl and Latifah's had it up to here, and what's the other joint? One More Time was my favorites. She's singing and rapping on here, and it was just a dope album. KG did a lot of the joints on here, and just a phenomenal album. PM Dawn, love PM Dawn. I know you hate PM Dawn, but I love their first album. I
If
think
you
they
watch
were
what I
just
say about BM Dawn and shit.
I think they were just ahead of their time for the '90s, and a lot of this stuff did go over my head. Paper Doll was great, but I didn't understand what the hell they were talking about. Set Adrift from Memory Bliss. You know, they got some joints in here, man. A friend of mine is they got some joints. Definitely love the production. Rest in peace, Prince B. Definitely an underappreciated album. Home Base, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. One of my
Ooh,
favorite albums from them. Summertime was a huge hit. The summer anthem. Um, You Saw My Blinker. Love that storytelling track where he's Will gets into a fender bender with an old lady and gets arrested and goes to court. Over that, and that was hilarious. I wish they had a video for that. Ring My Bell. A Dog is a Dog. It's so many joints on that album that I enjoyed, and That was a great album too, man. There's so many joints on this year that was just from that year was just great, you know.
Yeah, man. Definitely a very dope album when it comes to hip. I mean, dope year when it comes to hip hop and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, for sure.
Let's do 1999 next.
Okay,
Um,
top 10,
15.
15. Okay,
Yeah, we can probably do that this weekend and shit.
cool. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
man. But yeah, this was dope as fuck. This is how you do a hip hop list right here. This is how
Yes,
you do a fucking hip hop list. I don't
definitely.
know what the fuck Rolling Stone was doing.
I mean,
Yeah, man. But yeah,
it's
appreciate
getting
this.
people it's getting people talking. I see a lot of people talk about it, man.
Yeah,
You
they're
know,
talking about it. Yep. Hell, I'm about to about to check out fucking Mark Nash's video, what he had to say about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Hello. I guess shit froze. But yeah, that was pretty much my 1999, 1991 list. I'm probably gonna wait to try to think back in case he has some more shit to say. All right. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. I will probably drop this video maybe before the week is over, hopefully, and whatnot. Just to double check with Try before I head out, see if he's good. Oh, okay. Okay, he said his computer needed to charge and shit, so I'm just gonna end this off right here. Hope you guys have a good night, and I will see y'all soon. Peace.